Hello Gooners, hello football fans, and welcome along to In the North Bank and the two old Gooners. And we've got a special guest tonight, but I will introduce her in a second. Most of you know her already, but we are taking it to another level now, so that's absolutely brilliant. And this show is about Arsenal players that played for Arsenal during the wars and their country. Okay, so this is going to be a historic one. This is going to be super interesting. Me and Richard have been waiting quite a while to do this one, haven't we, Rich? We're looking forward to this one, aren't
Yeah, and I think it's a good timing because you've got Remembrance Day in a couple of weeks. So
we? Yeah, we're basically showing our respects, aren't we?
yeah,
So I've just introduced my guests. Obviously, Richard's already spoken, but hello, Statman. How you doing, mate? You all right?
yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah. And of course, down the bottom, she hasn't got a camera on tonight because ladies' prerogative. And Aisha.
Yeah, hello,
You-
mate. How you doing?
Hello, mate. You've done loads of shows with us. Just tell people a bit more about your background and why you like history and why you like the history of Arsenal Football Club. Can you just give us a bit of info, mate?
Well, do you know what? I think it's sort of when you say things are in your DNA, I think that's it's true because everyone in my family supports Arsenal. I mean, not that I would have had a different team, but I don't think I really had much of a choice. You know, like it was a thing of when I was born, that was it. It was definitely going to. But I will say one thing I've always loved and I've always said very openly is my dad didn't care if I was a boy or a girl. He just shoved an Arsenal shirt on me and took me to my first game when I was 5. So I was very, and I think because I've always loved history, it was a natural transition of being like, well, why aren't I looking up the history of Arsenal Football Club? And actually, the history of Arsenal is very, very interesting. And I always say to people, you know, an Arsenal fan that knows their history and you know a Spurs fan that doesn't. Because if a Spurs fan knows their own history, they can't actually say they were the first club in North London because the first club in North London was actually us.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I actually it just and because I've done for a very long time now things to do with the First World War, looking up Arsenal in the First World War was a really natural thing to do as well, because what people don't realise is football was always classed as a winter sport, and the same players that played for football clubs in the winter often played together in cricket clubs in the summer. And the one that was very much the team that a lot of football players went to was the Middlesex Regiment. And the Middlesex Regiment actually had a footballing battalion because of that. And so when I started researching that, I found that there was a lot of Arsenal players. And it's really interesting because there's not only a lot of Arsenal players, there's a lot of Tottenham players. And there's a lot of times in the First and Second World War where the rivalry was totally put to one side.
Yeah.
During war, and you get some really unusual and possibly slightly awkward for the modern fan moments where we've very much shared a history.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Aisha. That sort of gives people a bit of a background on what you're all about. And I know you love your history, don't you? And we've got you on tonight as well because end of the day, in the future, we're planning on doing a Arsenal history show with you. Am I right in thinking it's going to be a match in history kind of thing? Is that right?
Yeah, it's going to be a mix. So there's I'd like to do a lot more about the players. There's so many different things I want to do. Like I want to do more about the players. I want to do did you know this match in history was this, and obviously pulling on the stuff to do with majority of the First World War, because that's where my area of study really is. But I'd like to look a bit more how football, the connotations between football and warfare, because even down to the language used, like the pitch is known as no man's land. I mean, you have that someone's created a really amazing website which I use at school. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it's a list of really famous battles in the First World War, and then a list next to it of Premier League football grounds with the similar capacity to the casualties lost on that particular match.
All right, yeah.
So a particular battle, and it's really it gives you a real, especially when you're teaching secondary school kids, such a perspective of the loss just by looking at the ground and going, did you know this particular day is like for example, the first day of the Battle of the Somme is pretty much to capacity of the Emirates,
right,
of
okay.
just missing, lost, or killed. So it's quite amazing to think of it that way. So that's sort of things I want to do, little sort of did you know bits and pieces and stuff like that.
Right, so that's great. I look forward to doing it. I am actually looking forward to doing it. And before we go any further, I just want to say, setting up for this top 5 of Arsenal players that played for Arsenal for their country during the war, I've really actually enjoyed it. And I know Richard has as well, haven't you, mate?
Oh, I love my research, and so this was
Right up your street.
something I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah. So this is how this is going to work, guys. It's exactly the same format as what me and Richard usually do, top 5. So if you're watching this later or listening to this on a podcast, because this is going out on podcast as well, Aisha, yeah? So if you're listening to this on a podcast later on, don't forget, either agree with us, disagree with us, we really don't mind, or put in a new top 5. This is the top 5 from all 3 of us, right? So you can either agree, disagree, or put in your own top 5. We really don't mind. That's what it's all for. And do you know what it is, Aisha, before I quickly move on? Me and Richard, not only does this give me and Richard a chance to talk about Arsenal and what we love, but it also, we treat it as trying to educate people and to look at Arsenal in a different way, or look at, go back into the history and have a look at what Arsenal was all about. So it's even though it's something that we love, we treat it as an educational thing as well,
Yeah. So I get it. That's exactly how I feel.
Are you ready to go, Aisha? Are you ready to go?
I am ready to go. Now, do you want me to just read them out, or do you want me to give some background to each one?
I want one at a time and read out some background. We don't mind, because Richard will do the same, and if I can as well, I'll do the same. But remember, it's one at a time. So I'm going to ask, because you're the guest, Aisha, who is your number 5 of the top 5, please?
My number 5 is actually someone called Lee Richmond Roos.
Cool.
Nobody else got him?
No, I've got him. So give us some background on him, please, sweetheart.
So he was a goalkeeper. He was impressive goalkeeper. He actually played. So of all the teams he played for, 5 are still currently in the Premier League.
Right.
So he played for Arsenal, Aston Villa, Fulham, Everton, and Sunderland. He also played for Celtic. He died in 1916, so I believe he died at the Battle of the Somme. And the only club that remembers him today is actually every single remembrance is Sunderland. So it'd be very interesting seeing if because they're back in the Premier League. It'd be very interesting to see if that is broadcast this year and exactly what they actually do for him. He was originally from Wrexham, and obviously Wrexham's another club that's been made a lot of headlines in the last couple of years, isn't it? Yeah. He was known as the educated footballer, so totally breaking down barriers about that footballers had to be thick and whatever because they just were good with their feet. He actually went to the University of Wales. He was from a middle class family, and his family were really not very impressed that he went into football. He joined the Royal Fusiliers, the City of London Regiment, as a lance corporal because he had a university background, and he went to France. And on the 7th of October, he left his trench. He was assigned to stepped out to defend the French village of I think it's Cordaire, but if anyone's listening knows better French than me, that'd be brilliant. Like 200 of his fellow comrades, he was never seen again. So nobody knows what happened to him. But of the time, he was like a celebrity goalkeeper. So he was an incredibly good goalkeeper, but he was also incredibly charismatic, incredibly good looking and educated. So he was a bit like, I suppose, the David Beckham of his day.
And he deserves the recognition, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. I've put him at number 5 because his career at Arsenal wasn't hugely long. No. But I also think there is so much more to look at with this story of the fact that he's one of them that has never been found. So,
that's something we could touch on another show, Aisha. Do you know what I mean?
Yep, he's commemorated. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, at the Tietveld Memorial to the Missing in the Somme.
Right.
Which I have a picture of his name on the memorial because I actually went looking for, of the 5 that I have on my list, I have been to either where they are buried or where they are remembered because they were never found. So it's quite a personal list.
Fair enough. That's absolutely brilliant. Right, Richard, who's your number 5, bro?
Mine is Billy Blythe. He joined us in 1914 as an inside left, played 12 games before the competition stopped for World War One. He he joined the Royal Army Service Corps. He is believed to have served overseas, but there's no definite proof, as there are no service records available for him. He returned after the war and played one game for Lanark before returning to us, playing 9 more seasons.
Okay, cool. Is there any more you want to give us?
No, that's all I could find on him.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine. We're a bit. I must admit, I'm a bit restricted to Wikipedia, if I'm absolutely honest with you, because I didn't know what to use to look for these guys. But that's brilliant, Rich. Nice one. So my number 5, I've actually gone for someone different. I'm glad we've all picked someone different, okay? Because we're showcasing more people, if you know what I mean. So for me, it's Benjamin Albert Beanie, born on the 21st of February 1887. Died on the 20th of April 1915, 28 years old, so still a young lad. He died in Belgium, West Flanders. Now I can't tell you what war or anything like that, because as I say, I'm new to this, so you'll have to excuse my naivety a little bit. He played as a forward. He started at Hastings and St Leonard's. He then went on to that was in 1906 to 1909. He then went on to Woolwich Arsenal, which is the Arsenal, 1909 to 1910. He only played for a year. He made 16 appearances. He scored 6 goals. And then in 1910, he went to Carlisle United. And then in 1910 to 1911, he went to Bury. And yeah, as I say, he died in Belgium in 1915. He served as a corporal of the Royal Engineers during the First World War. There we go. And he died of his wounds in West Flanders. So there you go. He's my number 5. Sorry,
that's really interesting.
Say again, Don?
That's really interesting. I won't tell you why right now.
Yeah, okay. Well, you can do, because I've finished my bit. So if you want to go into it, you can do.
I've got him on my list, but he's not as you know, he's not number 5.
Okay, where have you got him?
I've got him at number 2.
Have you got more that you can tell people?
Yep.
That's it. That's fine. That's fine. When you get to your number 2, you can give them the rest of what you know, yeah? Is that right?
I can do that, no problem.
Okay, so we're now going on to number 4. Aisha, who is your number 4?
My number 4 is somebody called Thomas Farrell.
No, I haven't got him. Have you got him, Rich?
No, I haven't got him as well.
Aisha, fill your boots.
Okay, so Thomas Farrell, there's actually quite a lot of information on him. There is photos. I can put them. I've got photos for every single one of mine, and I can put them. I'll put them for you guys to put on here if you want to, or put on wherever. We can put it on social media. But he's actually a really interesting one, especially when you think about the rivals with us with football now, because he actually played for Arsenal and Manchester City.
All right.
He accumulated quite a few starting appearances for both clubs. He went on to join as a private of the Lancaster Fusiliers, and he was put as a reserve. He was put in the reserves and was actually originally sent to a battalion near Hull. He was then posted with the 1st Battalion to Gallipoli in 1915 before being transferred to France with the 29th Division on March the 28th, 1916, in preparation for the Somme offensive. So quite a few of mine actually ended up at the Battle of the Somme. And actually quite a lot of Arsenal players did end up at the Battle of the Somme because, like I said to you before, they were part of the Middlesex Regiment. And the Middlesex Regiment played a massive part in the offensive of the Battle of the Somme. He actually ended up being part of a really famous battle that took a place called Beaumont Hamel, which was mostly Canadians, which is quite interesting. It was recorded that one of the men who witnessed a huge explosion at Hawthorne Ridge 10 minutes prior to the assault, corporal by that time, Farrell, as he was now known, was actually killed on the first day of the Battle of the Somme in 1916. One of 163 killed and 312 wounded. He's buried at Auchamp-Villiers Military Cemetery, which I've been to. I've actually got a picture of his grave. And he was married and had 3 children. And I stayed, weirdly, when I went to France last year, I actually decided I was going to trace all the Arsenal players that played and didn't come home from fighting in the First World War. And he was the first on my stop because I was staying when I stayed in France, because I stayed in the Somme region, and then I went on and stayed in Flanders when I was in Belgium on the same trip. I stayed in Auchanvilliers. So his cemetery, the cemetery where he is buried, was about a 10-minute walk from where we stayed. And slightly off tangent, but it is still relevant. Where I stayed had a trench out in the back garden, a real First World War trench that is recognised by people like the Imperial War Museum. And it was, they believe it was part of the trench line where Tolkien wrote Lord of the Rings.
Flipping it.
So that was pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah, this is the sort of thing that gets me really excited. It's really good.
No, that's
No,
great.
that's good. Yeah,
That's why we're here. That's why we're here, isn't it, Rich?
Yeah.
Well, while Aisha's getting excited, mate, what's your number 4?
Well, mine is a player called George Ford. He was a fullback. He joined us in 1912, played 9 games in total before the war started. He joined the 17th Service Battalion of the Middlesex Regiment, First Football. As private, he took part in the Battle of the Somme, attacked a German strong point south of Serre known as the Quadrilateral.
Yep.
He got wounded in the left arm. He was evacuated and returned home after being medically discharged. He was never able to play football again because of the wound to his arm.
That's such a shame. It's like my first lad, Bert Beanie. I mean, he's only 28. You know what I mean? It gets you in the heart. It really does get you in the heart. You know.
Quite a few, actually. Quite a few that I haven't got listed here. But when I was doing some research on a lot of them did come home, never played again because of gas. Like they actually were. They were, because they were involved in gas attacks.
Is that regarded as a prolonged injury?
Yeah.
Right.
It's quite a contentious point with First World War historians, because there's a lot of people that came home and died as a result of their wounds, but weren't given the proper burials by what was then the Imperial War Graves Commission. They never officially recognised them as being casualties of war. So therefore, their wives or girlfriends didn't get widows' pensions. Their children never got anything. They weren't buried in the traditional white headstone, military displays, and they weren't put on war memorials because they didn't die of wounds that the government at that point considered to be connected to the war. But they were mustard gas, chlorine gas, shrapnel, even PTSD and like war neurosis, shell shock. That wasn't recognised for a long time either.
Yeah, I know about that as well. Yeah. So yeah. Right, are you done, Rich?
Yeah, that's all I had.
The first 2 that we've all picked well, apart from you've got Bert Beanie coming later. I've gone for Tim Coleman. Full name was John George Coleman. Date of birth was 26th of October 1881 in Kettering. He died in November 1940, age 59. His position again, I think they'd be going for forwards here, but this lad just really interested me. So his senior career was Kettering Town, Northampton Town, Arsenal Woolwich, of which he made 172 appearances and scored 79 goals. That would be up there today with the players of today, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was in 1902 to 1908. He played for us for 6 years. He played for Northampton for a year. After us, he then went on to Everton, played there for 2 years. He played at Sunderland after that for a year, where he made 32 appearances and scored 20 goals. In Everton, he made 71 appearances and scored 30 goals. He then went on to Fulham. He got around a bit, this lad, I'm telling you guys. From 1911 to 1914, made 94 appearances and scored 45 goals. He then went on I'll get to the end in a minute, I promise. He then went on to Nottingham Forest in 1914 to 1915, made 37 appearances and scored 14 goals. He then went on loan to Queen's Park Rangers, made 6 appearances and scored 2 goals. And then in 1920 to 1921, he went to Tunbridge Wells Rangers, made 37 appearances, scored 39 goals. He got 1 cap for England in 1907. He then went on to be a manager. So this guy has done it. He managed Maidstone United reserves, SC. I'm gonna murder this. ENSCHEDE. So wherever you pronounce that.
In a shed, yeah.
Cheers. And then and then he was there until 1932. This guy could actually stand with any team of today. I've got to be quite honest with you. I think he deserves some recognition. He made 172 appearances for Arsenal and scored 79 goals. The man deserves every plaudit. So Tim Coleman, not only please rest in peace, but thank you for playing for the Arsenal and doing what you did. Okay, we're gonna move on to our number 3 now, guys. Aisha, your number 3, lovely.
My number 3 is again, it's called Lance Corporal Robert Houston. Now, Robert Houston's an interesting one because even if you Google top Arsenal players in the First World War, he doesn't come up on the list. However, one of the reasons my list is probably should have said this before. My list is ever so slightly different. I've noticed that you two guys are concentrating a lot on the actual stats of what they're playing and whatnot. I've obviously got bits and pieces of that. My 5 are based on the ones that I actually went to last year, and I've put them in the order of their importance to Arsenal.
Fine. That's your way of doing it. Me and Richard have got our way. That's your way of doing it.
No, but I think it makes it more interesting because we're all coming in from different points, collating our top 5. So it's actually really good.
Fair point.
Yeah, I will say he was top of my list. So
who's that? Who is it again?
Robert Houston.
He's topping for your list.
Yeah.
Right. So do you want Aisha to say it all?
Yeah. I'll let Aisha just run with it.
So run with it, Aisha, and then Richard. We'll get to Richard when he can go with the goals and everything. If you you got the goals and everything, Rich.
No, I didn't for him, but that's fine because
that's fine.
It's just nice to know a bit more about history rather than
of course.
What he did for the country as well, isn't it?
Do your thing. Do your thing.
So he's quite an interesting one because he was from Scotland, and when he was killed, he was registered as living in Carlisle. But he actually had relocated down south to play football. He actually was. His wife said that she felt she lost him twice because, unlike other footballers' wives, she didn't relocate to London because she didn't want to relocate to London. But it wasn't long after he actually signed to play that he ended up being sent out to the front. So he moved down south to play for Arsenal, and then before he knew it, was assigned to the 17th Battalion, 1st Football, Duke of Cambridge's own Middlesex Regiment. I believe that is one of the footballing battalions. He was killed on the 13th of November 1916. Now, my understanding is that by that point, conscription had come in, which is the reason why when he signed his professional contract, he didn't know that he would have been conscripted in to fight. And he was placed with the Middlesex because his contract was down with Arsenal. His body was never found, and he's another one that is listed on the Teepville Memorial to the Missing. And that's pretty much from a military point of view, all that is really known about him, which is really sad.
I mean, the only extra I can add was that it's on that memorial. It's the pair and face 12D and 13B. You could find him on, and for us, he was a reserve player, which is all I could find. He never made a first team appearance.
No, because he never got a chance.
No.
Okay, we are going to slightly overrun, guys. I hope you don't mind, but that's fine.
It's not
I'm cool with it. I'm absolutely cool with it. Right. Sorry, Aisha, had you finished?
Yes, I finished. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Richard, who's your number 3, mate?
A gentleman called James Norman. He joined us in May 1914. He played outside left, made 18 starts in total for us before the war. He joined the Royal Air Force as a second-class mechanic and was discharged in April 1920.
Fair enough. Any more?
No, that's all I could find on him.
That's fine,
But
mate.
it was just a different set of the forces and I tried to get just a different one in there.
Okay, so again, we're trying to pay some respects to players here, guys. If you're watching or listening, we're trying to pay our respects to players, and I think we're doing it really, really well, to be quite honest with you. My number 3, and I might butcher his name here, is Charlie Murray Buchan. Yeah, his date of birth was the 22nd of September 1891, Plumstead, London, England. Date of birth 25th of June. No, sorry, death, not date of birth. I've done the date of birth. Death, 25th of June, 1960, age 68. So he'd been to war, obviously, and got through it.
Sorry, Des, I know you're talking about. It's Buchan, is his surname.
Oh, Buchan, thank you. Did I?
Buchan, yeah.
I butchered it. Yeah, I knew I would. I usually do. You know what I mean? I usually do. He was born in Monte Carlo, Monaco. His height was 6'1", and he was a centre forward. But
You've got a type, mate.
There is a bit of a twist with this guy, yeah, because he played for he joined Arsenal in 1909, 1910, but didn't make any appearances. Then he was at Leighton in 1910 to 1911. He then went. He then went from there to Sunderland in 1911, and he played at Sunderland till 1925. He made 379 appearances for Sunderland, scored 209 goals. Again, another lad that would be up there with the best of them today, in all fairness and honesty. Okay, but then he came back to Arsenal, and this is why he's my number 3. He came back to Arsenal in 1925. He made 102 appearances and scored 49 goals. Now that's a good return. He also managed to get 6 England caps from 1913 to 1924. I can't really tell you much about the military history. I'm sorry about that. We'd have to look into this another time. You know what I mean? So, but I just wanted to pay some respects to Charles Buchan and Charles Murray Buchan, and that's why he's my number 3. And he goes there because he actually played for Arsenal twice, and obviously didn't get his opportunity in the first go, but as I say, 102 games and 49 goals, that's pretty impressive.
And 6 caps for England at that point is also bloody impressive, because
exactly.
if you think about it, there were for 4 of those years till up until 23, there was no football. So he would have really only started probably playing against the 1920 season. So to be able to jump back in there and get them caps is pretty impressive.
Yeah, totally. So there you go. That's my number 3. And what I'm really enjoying so far, guys, I mean, we have agreed on a couple, but we're getting a lot more players out there, and people can go and check out these players and see what they're all about, you know? And I think that's brilliant. Okay, Aisha, we're getting to the nitty-gritty, mate. We are getting to the nitty-gritty. What is your number 2?
So it was really hard to pick between my number 1 and my number 2. So I went. The reason why my number 2 ended up being my number 2 was simply because I went a bit further and went, right, I'm going to look at the actual players themselves, and you know, if I could call them like London boys and whatever the situation. My number 2 ended up being Albert Beanie. So I went for him as my number 2 as well, because he is, as somebody whose great-grandfather is buried in Listenhock Military Cemetery, he is actually buried in a cemetery that's up the road from there, the old Poppering Military Cemetery. So there's an old Poppering and there's a new Poppering Military Cemetery. So he was built in the sort of the later one, the older one. Because he died very early on in the war. He actually died on the 20th of April, 1915. There is officially no cause of death listed for him. But looking at the actual dates of different conflicts and looking at where he fought, I've determined that he probably died in the gas attacks in Ypres in 1915, which was the first time the Germans launched chlorine gas on the Western Front. He was born in Hastings and was a fantastic player for Arsenal. He left to pursue a career at Bury, who he would he would actually leave to join the war effort. So he wasn't at Bury for very long, but it was quite a shock when he left because he was quite an important player. He was actually injured and died of his wounds, which is why I think he died of gas, because a lot of the time they're listed as being injured and died of their wounds. He is one of the only Arsenal players, funnily enough, that when you visit his grave, there are Arsenal flags on it. So people obviously from some affiliation with a supporters group actually do go and pay respects to him every single year in a capacity where they put the cannon on his headstone, so to speak.
That kind of ties in though, doesn't it, with the Memorial Sunday, never forget, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah, that's about all I can add from that. But I think he's definitely one that's to be interesting to look up a little bit more, because there are
definitely.
He does have a final resting place. He was with the Royal Engineers. So he could have. Royal Engineers were one of the battalions which were a lot on the Ypres salient, as they called it. So there was a lot of tunnelling that went on in that part during the war. So the fact that he was with the Engineers is no massive surprise. I haven't found a single Middlesex regiment that was stationed in Belgium at this time. So again, no massive surprise. He ended up being with the Engineers and that part of the fighting. So yeah, that's my number 2, Albert Beanie.
Funny how I put him at number 5, but then I didn't know his battle history. Do you know what I mean? I just took it as what he did for Arsenal. Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. This is why this is working, Aisha, because you're bringing something else to the table. Do you know what I mean?
Well, thank you very much. That's all I wanted to do. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. So Richard, who's your number 2, bro?
Mine is Spencer Bassett. He joined Arsenal in 1906 as a centre half. He turned professional in 1907. He found opportunities hard to come by and left in 1910. Joined Exeter, then joined Swansea Town, then Southend United. He joined the Royal Garrison Artillery. He advanced towards the Hindenburg line to provide heavy artillery for an attack on the village of Bulcourt, and on the April 1917 was wounded, and he eventually died. He's buried at Pozieres British Cemetery.
Brilliant. What was his name again? Sorry, mate.
Spencer Bassett.
Spencer Bassett. Right. Okay. Cool. Okay. My number 2. His full name is Edward Joseph Drake, but he likes to be called Ted Drake. I'm reading this off a screen, guys, so you just have to, you know what I mean? His date of birth was the 16th of August, 1912. He was born in Southampton. I've lived down there myself. It's a lovely place. I've also lived where Richard lives in Portsmouth, another lovely place. Date of death was the 30th of May, 1995. He was 82 years old. His place of death was Rayners Park, England. He was a centre forward again. I'm sorry, there's a theme in my players, guys. There's a theme. I'm sorry, guys. There's a theme in my players. I do apologise. He was 5'10" tall, bless him. Right, let's get into his playing history. So in 1931 to 34, he played for Southampton. He made 71 appearances, 47 goals. In 1935 to 1945, so 9 years with Arsenal, if I've got my maths right, I think I have, 167 goals in 124 appearances. Again, up there with the lads of today, yeah? He also got five caps, 6 goals for England between 1934 and 1938. And he also then went on to manage. He went 1946 to 47, he managed Hendon. 1947 to 1952, he managed Reading, and in 1952 to 1961, he managed Chelsea. Boo! But you can't have everything. But he's my number 2. He's my number 2 because the amount of goals he scored, in the amount of appearances, and you know, I was just impressed by that. Numbers were impressing me, if you know what I mean. But remember, guys, and I'm talking to your audience when I say this, we are just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Go and check these guys out and find out more about them. And obviously, now Aisha's involved, we will try and get more of these sort of shows out there for you and bring you more information whenever we can, because that's what we love to do. But please, Just take 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, however long you want to find out about these guys, because they mean something to the Arsenal Football Club. Remember.
And
that.
actually, you've just given me, just by being on this show, another line of inquiry, because there's a player you mentioned there, and you talked about Tunbridge Wells and Maidstone.
Yeah.
Well, I don't live that far from Maidstone. In fact, I've got connections with Maidstone Football Club. And also, my school that I teach in is not far from Tunbridge Wells. So I might trace to see if there's anything in these local archives about these particular players. Maybe even Maidstone have got something. I know they've got a very good academy. They must have something on the history of their players. So that's given me now myself a whole new line of inquiry just being on the show with you fellas.
There you go. We've opened a new door for Aisha. It's all good, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the thing. We always learn something, but we didn't know before.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So we're all up to our number ones now. Okay. Aisha, who is your
Yeah.
number one, please?
Oh, this is so funny because my number one is Spencer Bassett. The reason why I've got Spencer Bassett as my number one was a couple of things, but mostly it was because I've been to Poitiers Military Cemetery. It was one of the places I went to. I've seen the cemetery where he's buried. He was killed on the 11th of April 1917. He was born in Blackheath in 1885. So again, he was a South London boy, and it was a South London club at the time. So it was a thing that made me think, that's a big connection. He was an intelligent player who, by all accounts, read the game incredibly well. Unlike many players at the time, took pride in having a healthy lifestyle. His physical fitness was paramount. He didn't smoke, he didn't drink, and he much adopted a Wenger-like approach to the modern game, which has been said about him. At the outbreak of the war, he was a gunner. He was with the Royal Artillery. So I thought that definitely made him my number one. Bassett enlisted in the Royal Garrison Artillery, which was known as the RGA at Woolwich. So again, the Woolwich Arsenal, on the 10th of December 1950, before being posted to number 1 Depot RGA. Following a brief period at the 18th Company RGA, he was posted as a siege battalion on the 30th of May 1916 and prepared for deployment overseas. The battery then joined the 15th Heavy Artillery Group. So he was involved in he was a real gunner. I mean, that's why he made my number one. He was a gunner, quite literally.
It's a passion, isn't it? It's a passion.
Somewhere around the 7th of August 1916, before moving to the 36th HAG on the 10th of September 1916. There was also combat on the 27th of December 1916. Bassett was appointed as acting bombardier. By April 1917, Bassett and the battery were transferred to basically support the Anzacs. And it was there at the advance on the Hindenburg line that sadly he actually was wounded and died of his injuries, and he was just 32. So he was what I found in my research, these young players were professional sportsmen. They didn't know how to handle a gun. They didn't know what they were doing on the battlefield. They threw themselves in for king and country, and they did as best as they could. But it's one of the things that made Bassett my number one was he gave as much on the pitch as he did on the battlefield. He actually rose the ranks. He went, right, I can't play for my club, so I'll fight for my country. And that was why he ended up being my number one. But it was very tough between him and Albert Beanie.
Great choice. Honestly, great choice. Richard, you're number one, mate.
Well, Aisha's already mentioned Robert Houston, and so there's nothing else I can add. I added my bit there, so it's straight on to you.
Are you cool with that? Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
It's just.
And can I just say, I'm so proud because I picked a number one that you two haven't. Do you know what? When I started doing this with you guys, I was worried that I'd pick loads that you two had already picked. So I feel quite proud of myself. So I've gone for drum roll, please. I've gone for Clifford Sidney Bastin.
Oh.
full name, that's his full name. Obviously, Des, you've just said it. Date of birth, 14th of March 1912 in Exeter, England. His date of death was 4th of December 1991. He lived to the age of 79. As I say, guys, I can't give you the military background because I haven't gone into it that deep on his Wikipedia. So I have to give you what he did for Arsenal. But this is something we can touch on later on, and we can really look into their military history and tell you more if you want to know more. You know what I mean? But anyway, back to what I was saying. Slight position change, guys. He was a left winger.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm breaking tradition. So in 1926 to 1929, he played for Exeter City. He made 17 appearances, scored 6 goals. And this is why he's my number one. Okay, I've got to be absolutely honest with you. This is why he's my number one. 1929 to 1947. Not Woolwich Arsenal, the Arsenal. Okay, 395 appearances and 178 goals for Arsenal. That's impressive.
that is very impressive.
Especially of that time as well. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because football was a lot different back then. The ball was a lot different. The boots were a lot different. And he also made 21 appearances for England between 1931 to 1938, and he scored 12 goals. And Cliff Baston, to me, well, anyone we've mentioned in this show tonight, they're all absolute legends. Any of these guys, even though we've done a top 5, they could be of any positions in these top 5s in their own right.
Yeah.
Do you two guys agree? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
think it's 100% because between myself and Rich, we've interchanged them, showing that, you know, they could, like you say, they could be absolutely anywhere.
Yeah. So there we go, guys. That is our top 5s, right? Aisha, thank you for bringing something different to the show.
No problem.
We love you for it. Richard, me and you, we're always doing this stuff, aren't we?
yeah,
Right, guys, I've got to be totally honest with you. We've absolutely overrun, but you know what? It was worth it.
Yeah.
I've got to say it was worth it. And before we go, because I'm going to close this one down in a second, to all the men that we have mentioned, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service to Arsenal. And genuinely, we salute you. All right. And may you rest. And may you rest in peace. Okay. Right, Aisha. Before we go, is there anywhere people can get in touch with you if they want to talk history or just talk Arsenal? Is there anywhere anybody can get in touch with you?
On Instagram, I'm the teaching historian. And on Twitter, I am just Aisha Fennelly. Or if you look up, we'll sing it in the North Bank, which is my YouTube channel. All my socials are on there, and I'm on TikTok with the same name that appears on the show. And I'm going to start to do a lot more of which I was talking to the lads before come on, a lot more of the on this day in Arsenal history, we played this match and this was the stats and sort of going back. I mean, I've got some really nice First and Second World War ones that I want to do, which will be coming soon. I started doing them last year, but unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, I had a baby, so didn't really get much time to do them, but they will be.
Yeah, that's not unfortunate, Aisha.
No, he's not. He's definitely not unfortunate.
That's called life, darling. That's called life.
I wouldn't swap him for anything.
Yeah, hopefully Ian doesn't hear that bit.
Probably just laugh. No, my husband.
Have you got anything you want to say before I close it down, mate? Do you want to push in the North Bank and the 2 old Gunners?
No, I think we do it every week. If they
people
don't
know who we are,
if they don't know where to find us,
yeah.
On any street corner in Newcastle or Portsmouth, they ain't been watching this show long enough.
Right, so I'm going to close this one down, guys. For anybody listening, watching on YouTube later on when this goes out, but if you're listening on the podcast, just go and check this out, guys, because it is so interesting. It really, really is, right? And I know I mainly touched on forwards, but you've got to remember there's so many other positions in the team. Go and check them out. Go and check out. It doesn't have to be just the guys that we have brought to your attention. Go and check out anybody in the history of Arsenal Football Club, all right? Because you'll be doing them a service. And do you know what? You'll be remembering them. And that's what we've done this show for, to remember these guys and show them some respect. So, as I say, guys, thank you very much for joining us, right, and listening, because you're a big part of this show. Aisha, we want to do so many more of these shows with you, mate. You are absolutely brilliant, and thank you for bringing what you brought. And honestly, we're hopefully going to be doing a show that you're going to be doing once a month, as you say, a game in history, and looking at and going into it really deep. And thank you very much for your time tonight. Much appreciated.
No problem at all. Anytime.
And Richard, thanks again. For, end of the day, we love this.
Yeah.
We
love doing these, and this is one of the best we've done so far.
Yeah, we have absolutely been chomping at the bit for this one. And Aisha, you've added to it, so thank you for that.
No
problem.
Right,
guys. As I say, this is the end of the show. We will be bringing you more shows over the coming weeks. Don't forget, look after yourselves, look after each other, love each other, and don't forget, love the Arsenal. Okay, and until next time, peace. We're out of here.
Bye.